Hello, welcome to the Arcade of Awesome Bite-Sized podcast. It's a work in progress title. It's the first one we're going to do. It's essentially a very short and to the point podcast. Well, maybe to the point, hopefully to the point.
Yeah, hopefully, we'll see.
Based around one game that maybe a few of us have played that we just want to talk about that one game. So the podcast will revolve about that game and that game only, really. We might deviate at some point. But yeah, today talking about Alan Wake is me, Serday.
Me, Bacon.
Yep. And Tom.
Hey.
Yeah.
Yep, that's just about it.
All right, so Alan Wake. Serday, do you want to explain the game or me?
You've played it most recently, Bacon.
All right.
I played it when it first came out. So
Alan Wake is a game about a dude named Alan Wake who goes on a vacation trip with
nice little holiday. Indeed.
So they go on a trip to a small town, and Alan gets upset at his wife because she wants him to do some actual writing. So as he goes out,
yeah, he's a writer. We should point out that Alan Wake is a writer.
And so he gets upset and leaves for a little bit, and then he hears his wife scream. He goes inside, and then he finds darkness has taken her to the bottom of a lake or something, and then he jumps in. Yeah, I don't know.
So bad things happen. It's essentially the predictable middle portion of any story.
Essentially, you play as a dick. Basically, what I found is...
That would be a very strange gameplay mechanic.
Oh, yeah. You are a dick. But, yeah, this wife of yours, she's actually quite a nice character. You're like, oh, you kind of, like, care. But Alan Wake, he's just a dick to her. Like, she's trapped in this house, right? She's scared of the dark. She's got, like, a phobia of the dark. So... she's trapped in this house, all the lights go out, he goes out to fix the generator, so the lights are back on, then he goes back in, the lights go off again, and this time when she says, hey, could you do some writing while we're in the dark, could you help me out here? He goes, no, piss off, and walks off, leaves her in the darkness. She's just there going, Alan, please, come back, I'm really afraid of the dark. And he's like, yeah, whatever. You do not want to play as this character.
No. And along the way, he does get a little bit nicer and stuff, but no, he's still a dick.
Other characters, Barry, his retarded friend.
Oh, fuck, I hate Barry. Alright, one scene, alright, you're in the house of an old rock star, and in order to get some, like, information or whatever, and, so you decide to spend the night with your friend Barry. Well, Barry, instead of doing something sensible, no, he instead suggests to Alan that they both get piss-ass drunk while surrounded in a house full of bad guys.
Yeah, it's not the smartest cookie.
Oh, I noticed the ultimate bullshit flag.
Over it.
Beer is magical, and it gives Alan back all of his memories.
I didn't know that. I completely forgot.
Isn't that the way beer works, though? I thought that was, that was how it does.
He said
Maybe
Alan's like, the moonshine was magical.
Oh,
and it's where I'm quoting him.
Although that is pretty close to the pretty awesome bit in the game where like you have to defend the rock stage and then you got all the lights going on and stuff.
Yeah, that was
Everyone loves that bit. That is a good bit though. If you're going to play that game, then you're definitely going to enjoy that bit. What chapter does that end?
I think that's in 4.
Yeah, the game's divided into like 6 chapters. They're like episodes of a TV series.
That's what they're going for. That's one long TV show.
Yeah, the format is pretty good. They've really thought through the format for this game and how it's going to be laid out. The only problems with it are, I don't know, the story just
is
goes nowhere.
Along the way, you're being stalked by a man in an old deep-sea diving suit who drops pages of a book you don't remember writing. And I wish I was making that up.
It's basically full-blown events. I think that's a pretty smart thing in the game, actually. Like, the page, you can pick up pages of this space marine diving mask person. This guy, he's called Tom or something. Tom, no? Basically, he drops pages, and you pick them up, and they will tell you what's about to happen in the coming moments in the game. So they'll go, there's a man with an axe, and I didn't know what to do. I couldn't run. I was too scared to run. I just shone my light at him and hoped for the best. And at that point, you sort of think, oh, God, there's a man with an axe? I don't know if I want to continue now.
And I don't know why Alan doesn't use his foresight. I mean, he has the ability to read into the future. I don't know why he doesn't read a page and go, all right, so the trail on the left led to Disneyland, and the trail on the right led to hell. And then he goes on the trail on the right.
Think a bit ahead and, like, win the lottery or something. That's what I would
Yeah, maybe you should do that next time he writes a book. Yeah, the lottery numbers for this week. Yep, good. Just get the spacesuit, man.
Alan Wake 2. It's not quite as interesting, but...
Yeah, this time instead of going to a crappy town in a forest, he goes to, like, Ibiza or something. I don't know, it's not really a good place to go. But yeah, either way, he's an idiot.
Yeah. The entire villain motivation is get Alan to write a book.
Yeah,
Oh,
no,
work
it's
then. Good.
It's the worst stalker and story ever.
And the entire thing
Spoiler.
feels like Stephen King fan fiction. You turn on the console, and the first thing you hear is Stephen King.
Well, they've obviously got some influences from Stephen King for this game, and that's fair enough. If you want to take influence from someone who's like influenced your work, that's fine. I think. I don't think they take it too far in so much as well. They mention him a lot, but
How did they mention him if he's not involved with the project at all?
I don't know.
He likes reading Stephen King books, so that's his inspiration to write in the story.
Really?
I think.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
So-
a bit cheap.
But either way, it sort of gives him a bit more of a character as a writer. So it's like saying, oh yeah, I used to read Stephen King as a kid, and I really got to write it. It's feel more believable, and obviously they want to honour this writer that they really like. Unfortunately, their story is really convoluted. Not saying that Stephen King's aren't, I'm not sure. Everyone sort of has different opinions on that. But the story in this is either really, really Stephen King in a good way, or really, really Stephen King in a bad way, depending on how you view his novels, because you don't know what's going on towards the end of that game. It just falls apart, the narrative.
It just kind of goes and does its own thing.
But
So you
saying
think
that,
the story is kind of mediocre, but the action, I mean, the gameplay, what do you think about that?
the gameplay is definitely very creative in the way that there's two sort of sections to a battle.
You have to shine your flashlight on a bad guy and then gun down his physical form with a gun.
Yeah,
Or
it's pretty good. Especially as, like, you always have, like, a crowd of people coming at you, and they'll all be wielding weapons, they'll be throwing things at you, so you've got to try and concentrate your torch on this one guy so you can sort of reduce his life, and then you can shoot him. If you shine a light on someone for a while, they will be able to die. You're trying to focus your light on this one person while things are coming at you, so you have to dodge out the way, which is also a very good mechanic in this game, and you're running around. It's very good. It's very
like
terrifying.
Matrix. The dodging, it's like, wow.
Oh yeah, it slows down if you do it at just the last minute, doesn't it? It is a good combat system, and you've got a variety of weapons with which to deal with your different, I don't know, they're called shadow, they're just part of the darkness. They're basically crazy people who are just very shadowy.
And they say weird things too, like battery acid is good for your heart. I'm quoting them. Battery acid is good for your heart.
That's like the engineer, like each chapter has a different enemy who's like a person you're meant to like meet or something who like might have perished because of the darkness. Or no, they're just taken over by the darkness, but like their form becomes a dark new enemy. So like they'll be saying things that person would say. So like you got the engineer saying what Bacon just said. I don't know. It sort of gives the enemy some character in a way.
Kind of.
It definitely makes it more terrifying when you hear someone say that thing. You're like, oh, they're coming. Which the other thing where you know someone's coming is that it zooms in on them.
Oh,
and
yeah.
It goes, like when they're right behind you.
It just like goes in real fast and slows real down. And I kind of like that because it's like, oh shit.
Yeah, it's especially scary when you're already dealing with one enemy and then another one, so it goes, there's another one behind you. Like, oh my god, I can't handle this.
Although I did find a little bit some of it weird, like how Alan could somehow take down an entire bulldozer with a flashlight.
Yeah, that's the point. He also takes down things that, like, the darkness takes control of different contraptions and things. So, like, you have to fight a bulldozer, which is infused with darkness, which is quite scary because it's, like, bashing through... Does it bash through walls? I don't know. It's sort of...
It bashes you into walls and, like, just insta-kills you.
It's quite scary, yeah, because the insta-kill, so you could die at any moment. So that's a pretty thrilling fight. Apart from, once you get the rhythm of it, it's quite easy to dodge. But, I don't know, it's quite a creative enemy.
So all these things kind of add up to a nice atmosphere, is what you're saying.
Oh, yeah, it's a great atmosphere.
That's the best thing about the game, I'd say, because I don't know if many other people have done this, but I played the game, about a third of the game, 2 chapters in, and then I just put the controller down and said, no, I can't do it anymore, I'm too scared. Like a scared person, really. But, like, I got my friend to play through the rest of it I was watching, so I have experienced all of this game.
Yeah.
It's a terrifying atmosphere.
Once you get the flashbangs, though, it's just piss easy. You throw a flashbang, they're all dead. I mean, and the flare gun is fun. You just pop that sucker into a crowd of bad guys and they'll all be dead.
Yeah, but, like, you don't get as much ammunition. It's like survival horror. You do your normal. I don't know, we played through on hard, so...
On normal, you get a fair amount of revolver ammo. That's pretty common. You can find revolver ammo in churches.
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 Priest needs to defend his church. He's seen Die Hard 2. There's a priest in that church. He dies really quickly. Another part of the game that we should probably mention is the fact that there's these 2 DLC packs for it.
Alright, the DLCs.
Yeah, the narrative doesn't actually physically end at the end of this game if you're going to buy it. If you want to invest time into this world, you're going to have to pay, 1,600 points for both packs?
I think so.
That's kind of a cheap move, isn't it? I mean, if you're gonna,
Yes.
you're not gonna finish the game, and you're gonna make people pay more to play the rest of the game.
One of them is even like just parts from the main game, supposedly, just put out in a different way. The first one, the Signal.
We haven't played the DLCs.
No,
I've just Signal, and one's called the Writer.
Yeah, apparently the writer wraps the story up, but leaves a lot of holes. So I don't know if they're going for a sequel, they could probably get one out of it. But
the game, well, I mean, Alan Wake is a bit odd. Alright, so spoilers. At the end, Alan jumps into the lake in the exact same cutscene he did in the beginning of the game. And I never really understood that, because the darkness is dead. So shouldn't Alice be freed?
The darkness is dead. Well, because you defeat, there's this woman in black who's tormenting you throughout the game. What's her name? But
well, it's a supernatural game, so they can get away with anything. I mean,
they take advantage of that a lot. Should we explain this at all? Nah, we're fine. It's pretty much how it goes. But yeah.
So there seem to be some positives. You like parts of the game, but then other parts of the game are kind of a letdown.
The entire game just feels like a letdown to me. I mean, there's no motivation. There's no cake. There's no princess.
There's the damsel in distress. You got the wife. She's quite nice, to be fair.
But I mean, she's ugly, so I mean,
you don't want. I think that the lack of motivation comes from not the fact that there's nothing at the end of the tunnel, as it were. The fact that you don't actually feel like you want Alan Wake to get this reward of his wife back. You think, oh, he can just sit here in this forest and just die for all I care. Because Alan Wake, as a character, you just don't like. I find he's just horrible. He's always shunning everyone around him. Like you're talking to police officers sometimes, and they're going, "Look, can we help you out? You lost your wife, I understand." He's like, "Yeah, back off, get off my back. I can do this alone."
And another thing I don't get is Alan. All right, one level he's supposed to meet up with his wife's supposed kidnapper,
right?
And so he's sitting there, and the kidnapper doesn't show. Well, instead of going back the way he came, he instead opts to go through the dangerous forest. So, it's like, what?
To be fair, the game does forest really well.
Yeah, but I mean, it feels like he's always having to come up with an excuse just to get him into the forest.
Well, that's fair enough. It's like Borderlands, that's a game where you're always pretty much in the same place, but it's because it does that place really well. If in Alan Wake you went to like somewhere that wasn't a forest, like when you're in the center of town in that game, you feel safe. I mean, I know it's bright when you're in the center of town in that game, but it's nowhere near as scary
the fifth
as
chapter
when you're in the forest. Yeah, the first chapter you're in town, and that's when you're sort of meeting all the weird residents of Bright Falls, isn't it? There's the Bright Falls video series. There's like a series of I don't know. They created some episodes based around the characters in Bright Falls before Alan Wake got there.
Oh, really?
I haven't watched it myself. Yeah, apparently they're really poorly acted, but if you get invested in that world, you've got that to watch as well as the game. So
Alan Wake, I have to admit, would make a good movie.
What? You sit there for an hour and a half, you watch a movie, you go, yeah, it's good, some good action in it, and then you leave it there.
Kinda. They took some parts out that were obviously video game parts.
Well, like the bits where they had to hold people off for like long amounts of time.
Yeah, I guess.
Alan Wake is a good game. I'm not going to say it's a bad game or an average game. It's definitely above average because it took so long to make and really crafted something here, something that's different. It's not
freaking 9 years to make.
Yeah, okay, maybe 9 years is a bit long for the game, but I still think it's above average at least because you don't see many games like this anymore. I mean, it's the new horror we're getting nowadays where you shoot all the enemies like Dead Space. It's not so much Silent Hill as Dead Space in the vein of its horror. But
so you take this as a game that people should play, but this is...
I think it's a solid rental.
Solid rental. Or you could get it for cheap. And if you're an achievement whore, then there's 500 in it for you.
There's some deal. Yeah, I mean, they obviously took a lot of effort into the game. They didn't cut many corners.
No, there's no corner cutting apart from the fact that they've missed half the story out at the end. They must have made it and just thought, yeah, it's been 9 years. Let's just get it out.
Well, I mean, yeah, I probably bet they just said, fuck it.
Let's just ship it now. But no, it sort of, it feels complete, but it doesn't in the main game. I guess that's why they had to release the DLC.
And at the end of it, Alan just goes, "It's not a lake, it's an ocean." And I'm like, what?
Is that the cliffhanger? That's where it leaves it.
Yeah, that's where the cliffhanger is. It's not a lake, it's an ocean.
Oh yeah, that'll just leave you in suspense. Right? Okay. The topography of the area, that's a chilling last line.
Or he's just being a dick about it again. It's not a lake, it's an ocean. What are you talking about? Just the kind of guy Alan Wake is.
The music is pretty good, though. I have to admit that.
I can't remember much of music, but definitely the atmospheric sounds and noises when you're in a forest. Especially, I've forgotten about this, but like when you're in a forest, you actually see like bushes and stuff. They sort of, I don't know, they look a lot like enemies a lot of the time. So you think, oh god, there's an enemy over there, but it's just a bush. And that's something I haven't seen in many games, where you're so nervous that you're mistaking things.
Well, I haven't had that, because, I don't know.
Maybe you're just hardcore. I'm just scared.
If you can, like, take Half-Life or something, I think you could take this, or Silent Hill or anything, or any of that survival horror thing. But, it's not really scary, I don't think. Because, it'd be scarier if they didn't show you where the enemies were all the time.
I suppose. I don't know, it scared me enough to stop playing it and get someone else to play it. I guess I was invested enough in the story from Chapter 2 to want to see the story, that's why I got a friend to play it for me. But I think the atmosphere in this game is really good. It's just, at the end of the day, I think you'll feel let down after you finish this game. Like, you'll play it, you'll enjoy it, but at the end, you'll feel like there's something missing. And, I don't know, maybe the DLC fills that sort of hole, but I've heard it hasn't.
A good game, but it's just not enough there to warrant a purchase, really.
No, unless it's on a cheap or you want to rent it, I'd leave Alan Wake alone. If you feel like you should play Alan Wake, go by all means play it. It's definitely something everyone should see in action. So I think we've got some video in the background of this in the YouTube channel if you want to see how it is in action.
Arcade of Awesome at .blogspot.com. We have a review up there.
By all means, check out the website. We've got reviews, news, sort of articles discussing various issues within the gaming industry and stuff like that. Hopefully you'll enjoy it. Come back and check out our next break time or bite-sized podcast. Hope you enjoyed this cast. That's us out, I guess. See ya.
All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.
I wrote the story.
Dr. Hartman's right. You're crazy.
It's all in your head. You're making this up. Must be tough, knowing that your words